Hey, what's up guys? I'm going to make for you today a very delicious and unique pie, something you probably have never heard of. It's a chocolate cherry pie. It consists of a flaky, delicious chocolate crust. Inside is going to be this delicious tart and sweet cherry filling. Of course, chocolate and cherry go so well together, and it's probably a pie you've never tasted. So let's get started. I want to show you how to make this. Okay, so to begin, I'm going to start with the crust because you want to have that chill in the refrigerator just for a little while. So let's start with the crust. I have some flour here. I've got some regular and some dark cocoa powder. Okay, it's going to have that, give you that rich, dark, chocolatey taste. We got some sugar. Because of the bitterness of the cocoa, you're going to have to add more sugar than you typically would for a crust. Okay, so we're going to mix our dry ingredients together. Let me grab a whisk. I wasn't prepared. Here's a whisk. And we're going to just mix those dry ingredients together. There was also a dash of salt mixed in with the cocoa powder already. So that's going in. We've got that all well combined. Let's go ahead and add some butter. You want cold butter, so I've got some in the refrigerator. Okay. And what I'm going to do with this butter is I'm going to segment it out into little pieces, and it's going to be cut into the dough just like you would a traditional pie crust. Okay, so let me grab a knife. I've had all this already prepared. So I'm just going to break it up into little pieces here, like tablespoon size, and it's going to go right into the bowl. And after I get that all done, I'm going to take the pastry cutter and I'm just going to cut it into the bowl, right into the flour mixture. So your dry ingredients are being combined with the fat, which creates that flaky crust that we love so much. So you can see all these little pods of butter in the dough mixed in, and that's what you want. You want a lot of little pods of fat, which it's going to evaporate in the oven and give you that flaky texture that you love so much in a pie. Alright? So, I've got some ice cold water here. I'm going to take and add that into my crust. You want it ice cold because you don't want to melt that butter. That would not be good. Alright, so let's go ahead and add some ice cold water. And we grab a spoon. We're going to just bring it all together into a dough. Of course, anyone who knows about pie dough, you know you don't want to over mix your pie dough. You just want it to be just combined. Alright, so I'm going to pull it together with my wooden spoon. Alright, so you can see it's starting to come together. It's come together as a ball. We don't want to over mix it. We don't want to leave it just like this. So basically right now I'm going to take this, put it into the refrigerator, and I want it to chill and get nice and set. Since it is a cocoa crust, it's a little bit more difficult to roll out. So if you chill it for a while, it helps out tremendously with that process, okay? Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start on the filling, which is the best part. We've got some cherries here. You typically want to use fresh cherries, but since they're not in season, I'm going to go ahead with these here, which I've drained off. Okay, I've got all the juice drained into this pot here. And I'm going to add to the juice some sugar and some cornstarch. This is our thickening agent to get our cherries nice and fruity, and I'm sorry, not fruity. It's already fruity. I'm going to get the cherries nice and thickened to that pie filling consistency. Okay, so I'm whisking it together. I've got my heat turned on high, and I'm just going to whisk this constantly while it's heating until it starts to get nice and thick. Then we'll add our actual cherries, okay? I'm also going to add just a little bit of lemon juice, which adds to the tartness and helps balance out that sweetness, alright? So we've got our lemon juice, our sugar, cornstarch, the juice from the cherries, and we're going to let that get nice and thick. Alright, so I'm so excited. The filling, the juice is starting to thicken up a little bit. As you can see here, got that nice jelly-like consistency. So I'm going to go ahead and add my cherries into it. Alright, and I'm going to take a spoon. We're going to just pull it all together to one filling. Alright, you can see that the juicy cherries. We want to keep that shape of the cherries, the whole cherries. That's why I didn't add them at the beginning. So, This is just about ready. I am very excited to show you how to assemble this pie, get it into the oven so we can taste it, because that's the best part. So I've got the pie dough in the refrigerator. I'm gonna pull that out. It's nice and chilled. It's got that firm touch to it. That's exactly what you want, okay? So I'm going to unwrap this. And this just looks a lot messier and different than your typical pie dough. The process, of course, is just gonna look a lot messier just because it's chocolate. So don't be dismayed by it, because it just tastes so good at the end. It's worth all the trouble, okay? So I'm gonna grab something. I'm just gonna cut this in half. And actually, I'm gonna cut it in half again. I have these little mini pie pans, which I think are cute. I think mini is always better. And you know, like the individual portions, you can't go wrong with that. People always love that. So I'm gonna use my mini pie pans today. I've got my dough here, which I'm going to flour my surface nicely. Okay. Got my dough. I'm gonna flour my hands a little bit and the rolling pin, and just roll it out nice and thin like you typically would a pie crust, all right? We want it to be thin, not too thick. The chocolate is very rich, so too thick, it's just gonna overpower the cherry filling, all right? Let's roll it out. Okay. All right, so it's very thin. This is exactly what we want. It looks kind of a mess, so we're gonna dust some of that flour off. We wanna see the chocolate again. So let me grab a brush, a pastry brush, which is in here. Course. Let's dust off some of the excess flour, okay? And you're gonna lift the crust right into the pie pan. And this is the type of dough, sometimes it might fall apart a little bit, so you're gonna mend it together. You have a cup of cold water beside you. You can mend it together with some cold water, okay? And I'm just gonna start with rolling out the top of the crust now, since I've got the bottom in. Don't worry about those edges. We're gonna trim them all up and get it nice and purty for you. All right. So I've got my cherries. We're gonna go ahead and start filling this crust with the delicious cherries when they're still warm. And on top of the cherries, I'm gonna add some butter, because we know butter makes it so good. It adds to the richness of the pie. I mean, if you're gonna eat pie, don't go all healthy on the pie, okay? This is just, if you want it to be right, you gotta do it right. Add that butter on top, okay? About a few cubes of butter. And then we're gonna lay our crust right on top of that. I'm gonna show you how to make it real pretty and fancy. We'll put it in the oven, bake it, and taste it. All right, your crust goes right on top. We're gonna have to trim off the edges, okay? So let's go ahead and find a knife. I'm gonna trim just about ½ inch over the edge, okay? Of course, like I said, this looks so messy at first, but we're gonna get it looking good here in a minute, okay? So let's trim off the excess and we can start to tuck the edges over. I'm just tucking the edges under, okay? And we're gonna do that fluted pie crust edge around the edges. So let me just tuck first. The messy, messy chocolate. Okay, so I've got some slits in the top of the crust, because as that pressure builds in the oven while it bakes, the top of the crust will want to just kind of pop off. If you put those slots excuse me, if you put the slots in the top, it'll help prevent that from happening. So right now I'm just fluting the edges. The edges are tucked. I'm going to flute them and create that nice effect. Okay. Alright, we've got the edges fluted. Everything looks good. You can see that rich dark chocolatey crust. It's going to be bomb.com. Let's go ahead and stick it in at 425 degrees. This is one of those really special recipes, you know, originated in the family. It just speaks holiday all around, you know. It's that rich, indulgent dessert that you just want to, you want to eat after your big Thanksgiving or Christmas meal. So for the holidays, which is one of the, best times of year for me, especially just because it means family. I get together with my family. My mom, she puts me in charge of the desserts, me being the only pastry chef in the family. We just get together, have a great time, and it's just my pleasure to be able to share something that I'm so passionate about with my family every holiday. So this is a big deal for me. All right, everybody, the pie is ready. Let's pull it out because I really want to dig in. Oh, you can see the cherry juice just wanting to flow right on out of there. And look at that delicious looking chocolate crust. It's gonna be flaky, it's gonna be juicy, it's gonna be good. I'm gonna let it cool off. We're gonna dig in. Oh y'all, it's ready. I got some ice cream on top. This is gonna be good. You can see the steam coming out. I gotta get a cherry, I gotta get the crust, I gotta get ice cream. This is so good, y'all. You don't even know. It's so good, make me want to sing, yeah.